Hello, and happy Monday, everyone. Welcome into another episode of Titan Talk. Isaiah, Kilgoon with me as usual, and we've got a pretty exciting show today, but it's on the lighter side, I would say. We've got Open Beta 15 going live tomorrow, so we've got patch notes live on the website for anybody who missed all the shows that we've been doing over the past week or so, talking about all the stuff in Open Beta 15. And we're just going to do a quick recap and then open up the floor for Q&A. But before we get into it, Kilgoon, how you doing?
Doing good. I made it to the show about 30 seconds before it started because my lunch was late today. But other than that, yeah, life is good.
Nice. Well, I know I'm super excited about Open Beta 15.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff in the update. So let me bring up the handy dandy desktop and we'll scroll through patch notes fairly quickly and get into it. So Hui, of course, going to be the newest ported god hitting the battleground. Got some really cool +1s that open up a lot of different play styles. He's got some intelligence scaling that allows him to, bounce his ricochet a little bit extra.
Bounce.
I know. And then the intelligence focused scaling as well, adding some extra effects on Mark of the Golden Crow. It kind of extending that CC, bringing a little bit more utility. Ponpon was saying he's interested to see if maybe some bruiser builds come out of this with the +1s that Hui's getting. But of course, the ultimate, he's got that new sun that lingers on the ground.
Yeah.
And you can use that to bounce. So lots of cool stuff for Hui.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. He also has a aspect coming with him.
Yes.
Which now lets his basic attacks ricochet instead of his one. And will also bounce off of people that you have marked. So both very fun. Excited to see how people react. You'll get your hands on Hui in the patch tomorrow morning. Yeah. I believe normally we go down to patch at 7 in the morning, and then we're back up. When we're back up, shortly thereafter.
we always like to say around 2 hours of downtime, but you just never know.
Yeah, we've been going faster.
Yeah,
but that's kind of where we like to say 2 hours because sometimes it does take that long.
Exactly.
But yeah, tomorrow morning we'll be dropping that, and then the aspect will be coming out a little bit later.
Yeah, this Friday. Yeah,
we like to give people a little bit of time to experiment with the first version before we just drop the second version. We find if we drop them both at the same time, it isn't as interesting for people.
Yeah. And I know Ponpon said he was looking at potentially buffing the aspect based off of PTS feedback. So probably shipping a little bit stronger for those people who maybe played with it over the last week and the weekend in PTS.
Yep.
We've got a couple of new travelers hitting the wandering market. I am super excited about the Ravenstrike new WoW Traveler. This skin is just sick.
Yeah, it's pretty good looking. I think our team did a great job on it. It's a new Traveler that you can get. We're doing something new with this Traveler. We're letting you do 50-50 legacy gems on it. So we'll see how that does. She is kind of a legendary level skin that has a special emote that lets you fly around with those wings that you see in the artwork. She's got a new minion, little bot guy, and you can get a ward of him in the Traveler. So it's a pretty cool little bundle of content, I think.
And then, of course, the Traveler does have 3 prisms that you can unlock as well. And then the other Traveler in this update is for Kali. It is the Trophy Hunter Traveler, bringing over a fan favorite classic skin with some really cool prisms for it as well.
Yeah, the golden one in particular, I think is just like cool. Something about just give me the shiny,
Yep, I like the golden one. The Blood Hunters one is good too, just because it kind of gives you that convention Kali skin vibes where she's just got the red skin. She's got some cool animal print textures on that as well.
Yeah, I think very cool. Also comes with the jump stamp and title. So yeah.
In terms of quality of life and new player improvements, we've got a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah, and there's probably more even.
I know.
There's stuff that we have written down at least.
So the first one, we've split Action Cam into 2 different settings. Each one kind of lets your basic attacks behave a little bit different, right, Kilgoon?
Yes. So basically, Action Camera 1 is like we previously had it in the most recent updates, where you can aim up and down, and your basic attacks will follow that trajectory. Action Camera 2 is more like traditional Smite, but in that you're always aiming forward, but it gives you the closer camera perspective. I believe in this update we're going to test Action Camera 2 being the default for new players, and we'll see how it goes. We'll probably make some changes over the course of the update and test stuff, because the whole point of this is just finding out what new players vibe the most with. So far, Action Camera 1's been doing really well, but we just wanted to test another iteration on it. So.
Absolutely. And then we've got a lot of UI stuff in this section as well.
Yes.
Both the end of match lobby screen and the wandering market screen have been updated with new layouts and new art treatments, just to make them both a little bit easier to navigate, as well as offer just a little bit more clarity on what you're looking into.
Yes.
God skins on the homepage can now be rotated. So if you're on the homepage and that cycle you see a skin that you're interested in, you can now rotate it. This is not like the group skin treatment. If there's just a single skin.
Yes, if there's the first thing in the rotator is always like in the list of things, the first pip is always like a group of characters, or like a character plus some of their extra, like like Vulcan's turret, and some extra
and
stuff.
His thumper,
those are a different technology in the back end. They use a different function of the engine than just the single characters. So the single characters you can rotate, but if it's the group shot, you cannot rotate that. So,
all right, next up, we've done a pretty big overhaul of the settings screen. New kind of layout there. We've added new categories on the side to better group the settings. That way you're just not scrolling.
It off on
Yeah, we showed it off.
I forgot
last
if we
week.
did, but dude, it's so much better. It's like it's so much easier to find what you're looking for. And just today in playtest, I was Pon wanted me to test some different settings, so I was going to do it. I was like, it took me like 3 seconds to find the setting I wanted to change. Before it was like scroll. Scroll.
Is it in this section?
So sections should be a lot more obvious to find what you want. There's a lot of sub menus to further get to the things you want. It's just very well organized now, and hopefully players like it once it comes out.
Yeah, and then another part of the settings update, players can now change their individual god ability cast modes via the settings under gameplay without having to take that god into practice or a game anymore.
Yeah, I think we're doing some further cleanup on that. I'm not sure if the version that's shipping here is like the truly done version or not. I'm not sure what the UI team is on that, but it's been a big community ask, so I'm glad we could get that in there.
Yep. Keeping on with the UI side of things, the button callout graphics in your UI and in your HUD, they've been updated for better visibility and clarity. Basically, if you're playing on a controller or even on keyboard and mouse, a button that's not like a traditional keyboard key, A, B, 1, 2, 3, stuff like that, is going to have a little bit of a different treatment, a better background to better call out what button is actually linked to each ability.
Yeah, previously it was like the button itself, like the background for the button was like almost black.
Yeah.
And it was almost exactly the same color as most of the UI elements it appeared on top of. So it just kind of looked like the letter, and it wasn't clear that it was trying to say this is a button on your keyboard. So those have all been updated now to have like more of a lighter background, and I think it reads a lot better what the game is actually asking you to do.
Even after the playtest today, I saw like in the end of match lobby, I can press enter to chat and I can say GG to everybody.
It's obvious.
And last but certainly not least, in the quality of life and new player improvement section, a longtime community request: teammate aspect selections are not bod. I keep
bod
on
select
God.
lobby.
I've just been hitting the gym. I think that's what it is. It's my subconscious just getting into my typing here. But in the God select lobby, teammate aspects will now be shown on the left hand side of the screen.
Yeah, and I hopefully people that logged into PTS notice this, and I think it makes a big difference. Helps understand better what your teammates are intending to do and lets you pick around them a little bit easier.
All right, moving on to game modes. Just one Joust and Duel balance. We've decreased the Titan regen while the Phoenix is alive. One thing I did want to call out on the game mode side of things, we did initially talk about quick play Joust coming in this update. We have decided to hold that game mode while the team continues to polish that up.
Yeah, we've been running into just a couple like bot issues where there's nothing worse than being stuck in a game that should be over.
Yes.
And our bots have a very good ability to drag those games out much longer than they should be. So we're still doing some tweaks to make sure that they can end the game when it should end. Whether it's you winning or losing, it's better to have the game end when it should end than just drag on and feel like, So that's that part of the pacing we just really need to get right, and it's taken us a little bit longer than we hoped for. So hopefully next update we'll be able to get that in.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Conquest. We've got a good amount of Conquest changes here. Do want to call out, we talked about it last week. This is not considered a large kind of pass on the mode, but these are a few things that the team wanted to hit just because we know we've been getting a lot of feedback on the mode, and we wanted to hit some of the biggest points of player feedback for Conquest. So a couple things that we're addressing are just too much safe farm on the map, specifically around the solo lane and side lanes, as well as kind of handling objectives feeling a little bit too lethal and kind of just working on that objective feel and that objective play for the map, right? So a couple things that we're doing: the contestable Cyclops camps now grant XP, side camps now spawn later, Side teleporters unlock slightly earlier, but one of the side Harpy camps has changed to oracles that grant vision of a teleporter. So if you're keeping up with that oracle camp, you can kind of pay attention to that teleporter, watch out for ganks and stuff like that.
And they also spawn at the Cyclops and the oracles spawn on a different timer.
Yes.
So you can wait slightly to do them both at once to be more efficient, but then you also are getting less overall.
Yeah.
So it's just another way of tweaking.
You got to figure out the best way to min-max based on your matchup and based on how the game is going. For objectives, Gold Fury and Fire Giant deal less damage overall, but to compensate for this, we've added some things to make them not as quick to take down as a solo player. Bosses now inherently take reduced damage from crit. Taking hits from bosses also applies a debuff that makes you deal less damage to them.
Yeah.
So.
It's and the general goal for this, right, is that people should feel safer to start an objective because you aren't going to get chunked out by the objective and then lose the subsequent team fight, right? Like, we want people to want to start objectives so that it can force a fight, or, you know, force some response from the enemy team, and not just like, well, I'm low now and I can't do anything, you know? So it's like, it should just improve the flow of game around objectives.
We're trying to facilitate those like Fire Giant dances and objective dances a little bit more.
Yes.
One thing that was not in those two first bullet points, the oracles, vision granted from the camp now reveals enemy wards in the Gold Fury pit. So just adding an extra element to that buff to make it even more valuable for you to pick up. And then I'm not going to go through everything because we did go through all of this on our Friday show. So if
we talked about the goals. We can kind of skip through the rest of this here.
All your Fire Giant changes here, all your Gold Fury changes. And again, notes are live on SMITE2.com if you're interested in just reading through these at your own leisure. And then this is what Kilgun was talking about, kind of like the side buffs kind of being offset a little bit in their spawn time.
And then we also have a huge, massive, sweeping change to healing, as if this wasn't enough. 2 weeks, guys. 2 weeks.
Yep,
2 weeks since our last update. This is very long, but TLDR, anti-heal is dead, except on certain gods. But it's been standardized at 25% on those gods. And we have basically rebalanced healing around that.
Yes.
And we've given healers a lot of new and lifestealers a lot of new items that aren't just lifesteal more, heal more, right? So we can do more interesting things with healing and lifestealing when it's in a more stable place. So far, it seemed really fun in testing.
Got a lot of great feedback based off of everyone who was playing in PTS and the flash test over the last week for sure. Yeah.
So it's, you know, basically it's like factoring in the anti-heal always. So you're going to still be healing, but it's going to be more consistent. You'll know what to play around. And there are still some ways to counter build and to play against it. But it's not just like, let's invalidate this character, or, you know, the skill check of did I build this item versus a character being good or bad, you know, is kind of a little awkward. So this should be more I don't know, more fun. I think that's really the most important part. More fun to play a healer, and also more fun to play against a healer because you don't just have to build the same.
The overall goal was to just make it feel a little bit more consistent, you know, in combat, out of combat. Was I anti-healed? Was I not anti-healed? And then really just with all the new items, just adding more utility for those characters that benefit off of healing and lifesteal.
And I'll say this is a pretty big change, right? So it's very likely that some things are a little bit too strong, some things are a little bit too weak. You know, we'll be balancing stuff as needed. But when you make a change this big, it's going to have some knock-on balancing effects. Things seemed okay in PTS after we made some much-needed changes to a few things. So we think we're in the ballpark, but, you know, we need to see once it rolls out to more players.
So I'm just going to slowly scroll through all this, and if I see something that's crazy, I will stop on it. But Divine Ruin and Lernian Bow, kind of your anti-heal items, they've got their anti-heal removed, but gotten buffs to subsequent. Brawler's Ruin and Contagion have been kind of reworked and rebalanced to be kind of soft counters to healing and lifesteal. Of course, as Kilgun said, anti-heal has been removed on items. So Ruinous Ankh, Ruinous Poison, Ruinous Venom, all gone. Got some T1, T2s for some lifesteal items that have been balanced. Serrated Edge has been removed and then converted into a new item called Barbed Carver. Were you going to say something? Sorry.
No.
We've got some Devo's Gauntlet reworks here. more lifesteal, and then we've got
Dude,
a
there's
bunch
so
of new
much.
items.
If you are interested in these items, go back and watch the Friday video.
Yes.
Or,
I guess Monday was
healing.
the healing items, and then Friday was as I get to gods, because there are a lot of god changes here. Our Friday show was our god balance show.
There's just a ton of these things all very much matter to the balance of the game, but we read through them once. We aren't going to read through them all again.
Yep.
We talked through the high level goals for what's changing here. And
I will
one
stop
thing that
on
is,
here.
Yeah, I was going to say, it is worth
important.
noting gods that are gaining anti-heal as part of their kits. Agni will get anti-heal on Noxious Fumes, Ares on Searing Flesh, Fenrir on Brutalize, Izanami on Spectral Projection, and Chalk on Aspects of Fulmination's Rain Dance.
Yeah.
The 25% healing reduction is like a cap as well. So if you have one god on your team applying this, then it's applied. You can't stack it. But yeah, that's just a few more sources so that people that, especially in pro matches, feeling like they need to pick, and if they felt like they needed to pick around having this on their team, there are a few more options out there.
And then we scroll through all the god changes here, as we mentioned earlier. Pretty much, well, not pretty much, every god that had healing in their kit has had that healing reduced by between 30 and 60%, I believe Pon was saying.
But there's ways to triple cast your abilities now.
This is true.
And there's I think Cap's quadruple cast Lovebirds
I
today.
was against that today, and he was going ham.
Yeah. So there are
but it didn't feel overpowered though, which is the thing.
I think there's interesting, fun ways to play with these to still get a lot of value out of them, especially with these new items.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing how you feel about it once you play with and against it.
And
tomorrow.
then some of the gods who had their healing hit a little bit more aggressively did get some buffs and compensation to their utility. Gods like Aphrodite, Baron Samedi, and Guan Yu, and I believe Cupid also got a little bit of a buff as well. Important to call out that Odin's Ring of Spears will still 100% anti-heal. It's currently the only ability in the game that has 100% anti-heal on it, but we felt it's important to the kit. We didn't want to take that away.
Yep.
And then as we poured over gods from Smite 1 that also had that effect,
like Sir Ked, Osiris. And we mentioned Apwash as a god who's just kind of known for being an anti-heal god who maybe would do more than the 25%, but maybe not 100. Maybe he's a different category, but we haven't gotten that far to be able to tell you exactly what he'll do.
All right, and then Yamoja was the last god here. Item balance. This is a big one.
The big one.
Agility Relic from Quick Play is making its way to casual modes. We're not moving it over to ranked quite yet, but it does have some changes. It's got a cooldown of 10 seconds versus the 5 seconds that it had previously. And then you
no longer get the speed after dashing as well. It's just the dash. And keep in mind, this dash is not, I am immune while I'm dashing. It's not like iframes. It's just quick reposition.
Get a little hop, And then this relic also does have a couple of passives based on if you are a ranged or a melee character. So if you're a ranged character and you pick up this relic, your basic attack projectiles, I will specify that, travel 40% faster. And then for melee gods, your basic attacks will lunge you forward if an enemy is slightly out of range of your basic attack.
Yep. And I will also say that, you might have said this, I'm sorry if I missed it, the distance of the dash is also different depending on if you are melee or ranged. So melee characters will dash slightly further than ranged characters. We really want to see how this works in a real, casual competitive setting, right? Obviously, we have a lot of data on it in Quick Play, and people like it, but we want to see how this does in a different setting.
Yeah.
And hopefully people like it and it's fun to play with and against. You are still making a big trade-off by picking this, right? Because if you pick this, you don't have beads, you don't have Aegis,
you don't have Phantom Shell.
There's you don't have Blink, right? Which you could want Blink. I picked Blink as my relic today in playtest. Those are things that you are giving up if you go with this. So it is still a trade-off to go in this direction, but it offers something a little bit different.
Yep. And then the last thing that I want to call out about the Agility Relic is that it will be auto-bound to the shift key, just based off of what it was in Quick Play. But this is a new bindable option in the settings menu. So if you want to change it to your normal relic keybind, you're more than welcome to do that.
Oh, somebody asked, can you dash while Ares chained, or does it follow the same rules as other dashes? Yes. So if you are crippled or silenced, you cannot use the dash. So it follows. It's kind of just treated like a movement ability. So if something would prevent you from using a movement ability, cripple or silence, you can't use it.
Yeah. All right. Then moving on to the rest of the item balance that wasn't healing oriented. We've got even more balance. I think the kind of trend we're here is just kind of looking at some of the more tank items.
Yeah, hide is an interesting one that's maybe worth specifically calling out because the passive is changing.
Yes.
So it's no longer you gain 1 health when enemy gods hit you with basic attacks. Now it's you gain 6 max health permanently when you damage an enemy god with a basic attack. And then the cooldown on that goes down if you take damage from enemy gods. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of more like the I'm stacking, what's that? Why am I playing on the prophetic cloak?
Yes.
More like that kind of mini game versus I can't really control if my opponent is attacking me or not. And maybe this thing has value, maybe it doesn't, and I don't have any agency in it.
You're putting the onus on the user for getting the item stacks instead of the enemy. We've got a few more kind of tank bruiser items that are getting some buffs: Berserker Shields, Magi's Cloak, Genji's, Dwarven Plate, Draconic Scales.
Yeah, there was a bug with Dwarven Plate, so that's part of what we fixed it.
And then last but not least, Jade Scepter is getting a nerf. A lot of feedback on that item that it was just feeling a little bit too potent for what it was. So just taking down the intelligence and increasing the cooldown. Next up, we did make a lot of changes and bug fixes based off of what we saw in the flash test. Yep. So just a few changes here to some of the items and a few bug fixes as well based off things that we saw. Mm-hmm. Next up, not based off PTS, but things that were already fixed before we were into our PTS. We fixed an issue where jumping immediately after using an ability would remove the fountain speed buff from you. New WAS based and all skin targeters have been upgraded. Yep. For God's Bologna aspect of Vindication, we fixed an issue where block stacks could be provided to nearby allied minions. And then this one just came in super hot from Pon this morning.
Yeah.
Medusa, Viper Shot, we fixed an issue where this would not hit damageable deployables.
Yeah, so like you couldn't hit her own statues or wards or Cabrakan walls, things
Vulcan
that are
turrets.
None of those were taking damage from Viper Shot. That has been addressed. So that was brought up on Titan Talk, and Pon looked into it. So thank you so much.
Yep. And then last but not least, Mercury Sonic Boom. We fixed an issue where this ability would sometimes cause gods to infinitely spin.
Well, you didn't like that? That was part of the game.
That was great.
Yeah.
And then for items, Scepter of Dominion, we fixed an issue where being CC immune while within the stasis field maintained the damage immunity.
Okay.
Stalwart Sigil, we fixed an issue where this item could not be searched for in the item store. And then another one that just came in hot this morning from Pon, Bluestone Pendant. We added a potential fix for this item failing to work until a player leaves and then re-enters and then leaves the fountain again. So
yeah, sorry about that, but hopefully the fix works.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, that was the quick and dirty, and I say quick and dirty. It took us 20 minutes to get through patch notes doing that quick overview.
Yeah.
So.
And how many pages is this thing? Probably like 20.
It was
pages.
like 20, 25 pages.
Yeah. So I mean, like huge update in terms of just the amount of stuff that's changed. Generally speaking, like I don't want to say that like we alternate between big and small patches, but sometimes if we do like a really big patch like this, then the next one is like a little bit smaller in scope because we're dealing with kind of the fallout from this and figuring out like what goes next. But
I would anticipate we'll probably see a good amount of hot fixes post update on Tuesday, not only to fix issues, but I can probably anticipate some balance changes as well in those.
Yeah.
So.
And obviously we have a lot more exciting stuff coming out 2 weeks after this update. Yeah. We're going to have Yamis and some more fun stuff that we'll be going through next week on Titan Talk.
Yep.
But I think like this is just an especially big patch because of the way things lined up, and I'm excited to see how players feel about it. Hopefully Conquest feels more interesting with more focus on objectives. Hopefully the healing stuff feels better. Agility relic, Hu Yi, there's a lot. There's a lot. So hopefully it's a lot of fun for everybody.
We will definitely be keeping an eye out when the update goes live tomorrow for all the feedback and everything that comes in. I'm super stoked for it. It's going to be a really great update.
Yeah. Pon says this is a light patch, to be honest.
Just light work,
Yeah. So again, excited to see how people feel about it, and I guess that's all we had.
That's all we had for this morning, unless you have anything on your notepad.
No, this is all just stuff I have to do.
Cool.
I just brought it in case I needed to take any notes, but I have so much writing to do this week. It's just like I like writing. You have to sit down and focus to do it. And I feel like I don't have as much time to sit down and focus as I used to. So it's just like carving out the time to be like, I'm just going to stare at this document for several hours. Please don't talk to me. It's a lot harder to find.
Sweet. Well, let's go ahead and open up the floor for a Q&A. We're about halfway through the show, so let's chill for the next 30-ish minutes and answer some questions. Chad, if you have any questions about Open Beta 15, any feedback on anything that you played during the flash tests, or anything that you want to talk about ahead of our update tomorrow, we are here and chilling. So what do y'all want to talk about today?
Did Medusa 2 get the new anti-heal value? Yes, I believe it did. I think there was a tooltip that was not updated correctly or something, but it should have the same anti-heal value. And do we think Arrow's bow will require changes due to the healing changes? I believe it did get preemptively addressed in the same way that all healing items did get addressed. And we think that it's probably in the right place with the rebalance right now, but we'll see. We didn't see that it was specifically broken on PTS as far as I'm aware. We'll keep looking.
Cool. See a couple people asking about API updates. I know this is something on Kilgoon's list. I don't think we have a firm update for you all yet.
Yeah, I was talking with them a few weeks ago, and I think the conversation just kind of fell through. So I will bounce that thread once more and see if we can get that moving.
Cool.
Next God roadmap win. Oh, I guess we're gonna have to do that pretty soon too, aren't we?
Maybe like next Monday, or because we'll be showing off Janice next Wednesday and flash testing. So
yeah,
maybe next Monday.
Next Monday we can talk through the next couple of gods. Again, we're probably gonna stick with like, here's the next two, right? Just because, like, literally this week we're changing some of the gods that we have planned for later this year, right? We're just constantly trying to rebalance the schedule at this point to make sure that we are dividing our resources appropriately between gods, because we want to make sure we're keeping gods at a steady rate, and all of the other stuff that we want to be doing to make the game better, right? And if it's like, if we have the wrong gods on the schedule that are taking too much away from teams that we need to be working on other things, then it's just not going to be a good situation for anybody. Quick spoilers for Giannis? Nope, you got to watch next week. I don't have anything.
Can we look at the profile menus on Xbox? I can't equip stuff I've bought. It just freezes. Yeah, I know that screen in particular is performance heavy. I haven't heard of freezing issues for it though, but that's something that we could definitely take a look at.
Yeah, I know that the performance of it is not ideal. But yeah, I haven't heard about freezing. We can try and take a look. Will OB16 have more Conquest changes? I'm not sure. I actually have a meeting. I don't know if it's right after this or if it's later this afternoon, but I do have a meeting with the design team later today to talk through just kind of our goals and what the high level things are we want to accomplish, and make sure that we have a straight, like an actual plan for making the changes that we want to make. And I think that like we'll see how things go from this first pass and what the meeting later today kind of establishes in terms of the things that we need to be prioritizing. Update on the lighting update. Again, I don't have a lot to share, but I have walked by Justin's desk.
Ooh, nice.
I think it's starting to look pretty good.
That's awesome.
They've uncovered some interesting things. So I don't know. We'll see. Again, we're running experiments. The things that we are experimenting on may or may not actually go live, because there's a lot of factors in, whether we decide to ship something and how long it takes to actually do, because maybe I'm just talking, right? Please don't take this as, but like maybe we're like, oh, we like this lighting approach, but if we do this lighting approach, then we're going to have to update textures for all of the environment, right? If we do that, then it's going to take longer to roll out, but it could be the right direction because it would make the game better, right? So we are actively working on the overall appearance of the game through things like lighting and, like the fog in the jungle and, things that we hear a lot and we agree are needed. But it's not going to be like, hey guys, here's the new thing tomorrow, right? It's going to take a little bit of time to work through exactly the direction that we want, and then how we implement whatever the knock-on effects of that direction are. Will there be events for holidays, like Christmas or Halloween, or markets, either markets or like Corrupted Arena? I believe we currently are planning like some seasonal like markets.
Mm-hmm.
I like travelers, I think more so than anything else, but I don't think that we have any plans for like bringing over any like corrupted arena or anything, right? Most of our map resources right now are going towards how do we make the core stuff we have now look better, rather than adding new short-term stuff.
Can Hui ricochet on player-made structures? Yes.
How many Immortal Honor skins are left to port? So we have
That's a good question.
We have the countdown of cross-gen skins. I want to say it's 4 or 5 we have left. I think there's a Sun Wukong skin that's like a street style skin. There is a Hu Yi skin. There's a Ganesh skin. There's King Arthur's
Divine
Legacy skin. And there's maybe like 1 or 2 more, but we're almost done with the cross-gen skins, and we're bringing them over when we can. I will say, we did make a planning mistake, and Ganesh will be getting a classic skin before the cross-gen skin. But I think the classic skin's cool, and it didn't make sense to hold it since we had basically done it. So so there will be a classic skin coming for Ganesh before his cross-gen skin. So I'm sorry about the planning mistake for that. Sorry, there's a lot of long sentences. When there's a lot of long sentences, it takes me a second to process. I'm not sure I fully understand this one. I'm trying to think through what the question is asking. But could the build system allow us to create a planned full build for the current specific match given the comps, telling the system these are the 7 items I want to build this match that can still be edited? I don't fully understand what you're asking, but I will say that like the one good thing about the God Builder that we have right now, right, is that there's kind of like, here's my default, my build, right? And then there's more rows where you can put like alternate builds or situational items. So if you are, if you're going through and like building your items, you can pretty easily make like here's all the items I could possibly want to build on this character that are all just on one easy to access little screen. But in terms of like letting you like make a build mid-game, if that's what you're asking, no plans to do that. But I think you can get kind of close to it with our current system. That's an interesting idea. Can the relic row hide after buying a relic in the store? It's a decent idea.
Let's see. Is Action Camera an attempt to make SMITE 2 with verticality added to the map like other games?
No, it's not. I think that like we like how SMITE plays. The goal isn't to change what we're doing by and large, right? The goal is just to make the game feel more familiar to people who are not familiar with the way that it plays. SMITE plays in a very weird way.
It's unique.
Unique is a much better word. There's no other game that like, and I've said this before, and I've yet to see anybody who's come up with a good comparison, because I would love to have more comparisons to look at. There's no other game that really plays like SMITE, right? Because it's your basic attacks travel forward along the ground in front of you, and where you are looking is your ground targeter, not where your basic attacks will go, right? And that kind of a third-person perspective is like, it's just not used by any other games. So it takes a little bit of time to like work your brain around it and understand like, oh, this game's actually amazing. Like, it's really fun. It just feels a little bit unnatural at first if you're used to playing normal third-person shooters. So because of that, we feel like the action cam is a good like transition where it's like you don't notice as much or care as much that like some of the way that like the game works is different than you're used to, and you can just focus on like having fun.
Yeah.
And then like if you want to move to a different camera angle later, once you've started to appreciate the core fun of the game, then you can, right? And we find that that's usually best for things. It's like the players that want us to do, I'm exaggerating, but like, do 10 hours of tutorials before they can play a game. It's like we need to teach them specifically the jungle starting path before they play a game of Conquest or whatever, right? Like all this stuff it's good. Players should learn it, but you can't try and like tell a player why they're going to have fun or force a player to like something that they don't have the core immediate like good feels around. And the most important thing for the very beginning of a player journey is just like show them the fun, let them see what makes this game special. And then once they are having fun, then they'll learn all those little details.
Then you open up the avenues for all the other kind of game mechanics and things like that. Are we sticking with the name Agility Relic? I can't say that. Or are you workshopping names for it?
I think that's the planned name right now. If you don't like it, let us know what you think we should call it. We can always consider changing the name. It's easy for us to change names of things. I see a couple people asking about God leaderboards. That's something that we can theoretically. So the tech to create the leaderboards is pretty much there already. The UI to show leaderboards is not there, right? So it would be some UI to create that. I think the other thing to keep in mind about leaderboards, right, is that like a lot of people that want God leaderboards back also want like early Smite 1 where you got gems for being high on the God leaderboards. That was horrendously abused by people like queuing low pop servers at weird times of night to be like the best at some character to get like gems. And it was not, it both wasn't representative of, your actual skill level. And it wasn't like, I don't think that's fun. So we would not, if we brought back God leaderboards, we would not be bringing back rewards that are tied to them, because I think that incentivizes the wrong behavior. When more so, we want to just recognize people who play the God a lot and do well on it, right? Like, it would be cool to be able to say that, like, I'm one of the best Ognis in the world. I'm not, but I just picked a God at random. I'm one of the best Ognis in the world. But if you're incentivizing players to climb to the top for any reason other than just notability, right, then it leads to even more people abusing the system.
What if God Builder items appeared like the quick play items, and you get a selection for situational items?
Yeah, so this is actually something that is on our to-do list. I don't know if it'll be in 16 or 17, but this is kind of one of the really important next steps, because like if you are a new player and you come in and you're having fun with quick play and you're having fun building items, then you go to not quick play and you don't, it's completely different, right? Right now it's auto build, like by default if you leave quick play and go, so you just don't have to worry about items, but still that's like not as fun. So the goal is to integrate that kind of pick 3 experience into the core item store. And it'll actually probably have a couple different steps where it's like the first version of that you have is still in kind of like, I don't want to say like a limited item store. You can still get to anything, but it's like presented in a very controlled way where it's like, we're not trying to expand what we're asking of you very much. It's just like, hey, now when you go back to the store, this thing that pops up will be more like the normal default. And like, we will introduce the idea of there are tiers to an item that you need to build, right? Like you have to build the components. You can't just build the full item. I mean, you could, but so like even just that is like another like cognitive step of like learning. So we'll probably introduce like that as the first step, and then like expand it a little bit more to be like, here's the full store. But yeah, that's high on our list of priorities because new players are really, really liking quick play. Like quick play is doing great for us. All the changes that we've done have been very positive, but we think that we have room to improve like your transition from liking quick play to playing more modes. So that's high on our list of priorities.
If agility is found as an okay relic, will it be added to ranked?
Yeah. No, I mean, like if it feels good to play with and against, and it feels like it works in that setting. Yeah, we would love to have it available everywhere. We just felt like it was kind of potentially a foundational change to the way the game plays that might throw off the balance of ranked too much, for it to be a first test in ranked. But ideally, yes, it will come to ranked. I would like the game to just be as similar as it can be in the different modes.
Yeah.
Obviously, like there are things about quick play that makes the game go faster, and you're playing with bots a lot of the time. But like it shouldn't be like I'm playing 3 separate games if I go from regular to or from quick play to classic to ranked.
Yeah.
It should be like I'm playing the same game. I'm just playing like different tweaks and difficulty levels of it. I dropped my pen.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. I'm not writing anything anyway. Oh, it's over here. How did it get over here? Okay, got
it. Let's see. Can we get a single place to check out our worshiper counts as a whole and not have to go to each god?
Eventually. I think that like right now you can kind of see, you can't see the exact numbers, but you can see like the wheels,
progress bar,
right, that kind of show you how you're making progress through each god level very easily from either the gods tab or from the pick bands or like the match lobby. So we feel like it's not like the most needed screen to have like this numerical ranking of them. And you can also sort on the gods tab of like most to least, or closest to level. You can do the same thing for the match lobby. So there's a lot of like ways to navigate through that. So it's just not as high of a priority as like we were just talking about, like let's bring pick 3 to the normal item store so that people can transition better between quick play and classic. Have we thought about bringing a Central American god like Cebu from Costa Rica? My country, by the way. Thanks for watching from Costa Rica. Never been to Costa Rica, but it looks very pretty in the pictures I've seen on the internet. But I would say we have pitches for gods from just about every pantheon that you can think of. I'm not sure if specifically Cebu is on the list. I'm personally not familiar with Cebu. But we definitely have considered adding new pantheons from a lot of different countries. I think generally speaking, we feel like when we add a new pantheon, not that we need to do it right then, but there needs to be potential for us to like do a couple different gods from the pantheon eventually. So, if it's, again, I don't know anything about Costa Rican, mythology, but like if that's like a single god thing, then that might be a reason we would be less likely to do it. But other than that, we're pretty open to adding pantheons that we think have cool characters that fill unique niches, right? And it's usually like there's a visual hook that's tied to that type of mythology that we don't have represented, or there's some interesting gameplay ideas that come out of what the gods do in their myth. Or there's just a lot of name recognition around like, oh, hey, so-and-so's in SMITE. Like, that's cool. I want to go check that game out, right? So that's kind of why we go in those directions.
Let's see here. Will we ever get accolades? Are my ranked Conquest pentakills being counted right now, at least?
My understanding is that we are tracking all that in the background, but we don't have the screen to show it to you, and eventually we'll get around to the screen, but just not the top priority at the moment. We do have like, for a lot of things, there are trackers now at the god level that let you see. There are certain things that we don't see, like I think pentakills is the one that we get the most feedback for, especially like that people want to see at account level. But that's it's just not, it's one of those things that like we need to get to eventually. I'm not saying that it's unimportant, but just we always have to prioritize the thing that we think is most important for the game right now. And I would say that's not at the very top of the list yet. I have Flairboot asking me about adding like the very specific numerical stats to the to the scoreboard, like to be able to bounce over like you could in Smite 1. And again, that's the thing that like is good and we need to get to eventually, but it just isn't the number one priority right now for, you know, improving the core of the game. But it is stuff that is on our to-do list. Yeah. 2X Worshiper event soon? What's the plans?
Sure, why not? Let's run one this weekend.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. That'll be fun. Yeah, we got a new patch.
There you go.
Little double Worshipers. I like it.
For your double bounces with Hu Yi. You know?
Ah, double the bounces, double the Worshipers. I love it. On what side are the oracles? The new oracles in the side lanes are in kind of like the back of the two. There's like there's two camps that are kind of connected by a little thing, and it's the backmost one is
the one closest to the teleporters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Has the relic system been thought about again? We're pretty happy with the current state of, you know, having one relic plus active items. We think that like active items add more interesting things to the game, and we like having the buttons available for that. I know that there are still some 2 relic enjoyers in chat, but that's not the direction that we're going in right now. We think that long term for the game, 1 relic plus active items is healthier and more interesting.
The profile menu on console uses the bumpers to navigate the different sections, but the God-specific loadout uses the triggers. Can we change it so it's the same?
I don't know, but probably. Yeah, we can take a look. Sometimes like the buttons are reserved for a certain feature that makes it so that we can't.
I would have to go and look at the screens.
So I would have to look at the screens to actually like tell you for sure if we could or couldn't. Console cannot check scoreboard when the game is paused or the surrender vote is open or when you have VGS open. That is known. That is on our list of things to fix. When VGS open, actually, I don't think is on our list to fix because we don't want you to have VGS plus another screen open at the same time. I don't think Smite 1 allowed you to do that either. It just would close you could open the scoreboard, but it would close your VGS. I'm 99% sure how it worked. But we don't want multiple screens open at the same time. The other ones, you should be able to vote, surrender, be paused, and still be able to look at the scoreboard.
Let's see here. A couple of people asking about just ranked rewards and ranked borders with the reset. So the rewards for this split are titles, I believe. I'm not sure on the state of borders. I know Blake and a couple other people on the team were looking into the next time we would distribute those out, because I know we did the first round, but I'm not sure when the next round is going to go out for those.
So this round is titles though. And then there is the soft reset coming with this update tomorrow. Are the gods that we announced earlier this year, such as King Arthur and Sylvanas, still set to release this year? I would say nothing is set in stone anymore, right? I think that we are being as smart as we can about trying to make the game as better as quickly as we can, right? And that it's necessitating looking at what gods we're doing when. And I alluded earlier in the show to us looking at our god schedule again this week, right? Because we're trying to make sure that we're doing the right things. So I can't confirm that those gods will be on the list. Consider them back in the pool of like, we'll get to them eventually, and we'll see, when we announce something and consider it confirmed.
Say something about Op Watch, please. He will make it to Smite 2 eventually.
We talked about him a little bit earlier in the show, right? Because he is known as being like an anti-heal god, and I think that we're aware of that and would want to keep that part of his identity whenever he does come over, even with these healing changes.
Yeah.
But I don't have any specific update on him. We're only confirmed through Giannis. Anything after that is pure speculation, some of which may be more based in reality than other. But, we are confirmed through Giannis. We'll talk more about the next couple gods next week. People asking about Ward Chalice. There is a item now that is functionally
Eye of Providence, right?
Yeah. So Eye of Providence kind of is intended to fill that gap. If you want to be able to place wards, I think that it's a good item. I would give that a try. Are there plans to let players hang out in practice range while in queue? This is something we've talked about before. It's something we've experimented with a little bit, but no firm ETA. It's something we'd like to do, but there's potentially some issues around like managing like when you're getting added to games and what state you're in to where you could like miss a queue pop or something. So there's a few like technical issues around it, but it is something we'd like to get to eventually. In the future, are we going to consider adding jungle bosses to jungle practice, like in Smite 1? Maybe eventually. Yeah, I mean, I think that like there's room for us to add more things to that.
I'm pretty sure Fire Giant is there already.
Yeah.
But we don't have Gold Fury or like Pyro or anything else.
Yeah, and we do have like the totem, and you can also just like, you don't have the practice mode tools, but you can just like create a conquest by yourself or whatever and go run around and do things. Yep. Yeah, no Fire Giant, just Titan.
No FG, yeah. Did we address the assault bug where it takes from the bench when re-rolling instead of giving a random god? I think that was addressed. Gosh, so many hot
I think
fixes
this week
ago.
we fixed that. Yeah. Basically, there's just some logic that was like looking at when you joined the match wrong, basically, and not confirming. But I think that should have been fixed in a hotfix this week. Is it intended for god abilities to go through walls in Smite 2 compared to Smite 1? An example, Bots 2, Nem 2 go through walls in Smite 2, but not in Smite 1. There are some design choices that maybe would lead to things being different. Some of them may be unintended. I couldn't speak about those two in particular, but I do know that like there were some early on that like weren't supposed to, but like one way or the other was either by design intent or just as an oversight. So I don't know about those two in particular, but we can mention them to design. I see people asking about red dots. Yes, the
pesky red dot.
Pesky red dot. Yeah, we're still working on that.
We try our best to make sure that that gets cleared every update, but it just sometimes does make its way back in.
Pon says, cones going through walls is intended. We can't call the VFX, so it ends up looking weird to the person being hit that it required line of sight. Uller is more interesting, and I would need to take a look.
Yeah. Team skin boosters, question mark. I know we have team skin boosters in Assault right now. They work differently than they did in Smite 1 though, right?
Yeah, basically it just like unlocks a skin for each person, and I think that like it was kind of meant as a test, see how it goes. We don't like team skin boosters are not like just the highest priority right now, because we have like there aren't that many skins in the game in the first place, and team skin boosters have there's some positives and they also have some negatives around them, in that if we give them out too frequently, we don't have good ways to distribute a lot of this stuff still, right? And if we give them out too frequently, then everybody just always has skin. And if we don't give them out frequently enough, then people don't want to use them because then they're like, I only have one, and it's like I can't use any of my ethers because it's like we play, so I think that like, it's just there's a couple interesting design problems around it that we have to solve before we actually get to them. Can the dishonorable debuff be a little more flashy in Assault? I like it how it is. I think it's a good debuff.
It's subtle, you know?
Yeah. Will console players ever be able to type? Yes, we would love to do that sometime soon, but unfortunately, we have to go through a full console certification pass to turn on the typing. We have all the tech done to support it now, but we just need to go through a full certification pass, which takes several weeks, during which we can't do anything else. Yeah. So we will get there as soon as we can, but we just have not wanted to take a couple week break from patching to be able to do that. And can console players read right now but not type? It's tied to the same thing. Yeah. So the certification that we have to go through basically is like cross-platform communication certification, which it's like part of a full cert, but they have a lot of specific rules about how that's handled, and we can't just turn it on. It's just not allowed. I would love to, but we can't.
Yep. We've gotten the feedback for adding a fully stack your items button to practice. I'm not sure where that's at on the list, but we've definitely talked about that before.
What about God ranked borders? You only mentioned God leaderboards and gems. I think that that's something that we would probably look into at the same time that we did leaderboards, having those kind of frames that are like, hey, I'm good at this god or whatever. But, not, again, it's tied to a future system that we haven't really spent too much time thinking about.
Will the current rank borders at least be upgraded if you got a higher rank since last time?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't believe so. I believe that it is the ranked borders were the reward for that first
split. For that split. Yes. Okay.
And so this time...
So different than the way that they worked in SMITE 1.
Well, in SMITE 1, we only updated them once a year, I believe.
Yeah.
So the thing is that it hasn't been a year since we did the last time. Yeah. So my understanding is that this is just, you'll get new titles based on how you did over the last split. Does Sun Wukong still get targeted by Vulcan turret while on the cloud? I thought we fixed that because we also fixed.
Yes, I thought we did fix that.
Yeah, I thought that got fixed.
We know about the problems that we've had in the past on the topic about making Hindu gods, but has there ever been another pantheon that we've gotten backlash over, Chinese, for example?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that, as far as I'm aware, I don't think we've gotten people too upset with us for doing any other. I'm trying to think. Yeah. I know that there was this wasn't a super negative thing, but I want to say that there were some Brazilian feedback around Umoja, because Umoja is also followed in Brazil, that wanted her to be different, but it wasn't controversial as far as I remember. That's the only thing I can even really think of that kind of comes close.
Nothing else kind of comes to mind in terms of cultural.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. Can we bring back ad chests? Unfortunately, Steam made the decision that that ad chests are not allowed, and because of that, it's a decent amount of work to implement, and implementing something that's only usable by a part of our population is not ultra high on our list of things to do. I personally disagree with Steam's take on it. I understand the I don't want to be forced to watch ads, but completely optional. If I watch ads, I get things. I thought was totally fine, but they did not. So we had to turn that off. And I wish it could come back, but alas. Cool. Diamond sale soon. We do not plan to put diamonds on sale anytime. Anytime soon. Generally speaking, going into SMITE 2, our kind of monetization strategy was to try and make things be more affordable generally and not be so reliant on sales, because we found that most players would just wait until sales, and this was not good for us, basically. Not because things were cheap, but because like we couldn't price things as cheap as we wanted to because so many things were like tied to sales. So we don't have any plans to do any diamond sales anytime soon. At some point, maybe, you know, never say never, but we are not planning any diamond sales anytime soon. So if you are waiting for a diamond sale, you are waiting for something that is not currently planned. I can confirm we do not have a diamond sale planned.
Cool. Well, we are at 2 p.m., so it's time for one more question. And then we'll get ready for Open Beta 15 tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really big update.
I'm going to take a non-SMITE question because the genre savvy has been asking this one over and over. What is your favorite Magic the Gathering keyword?
Ooh, keyword. Probably Landfall.
Landfall's good.
Probably because that was the first commander deck I built.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I just have a long felt admiration for that mechanic. It's so much fun.
I think that like if you're going back to like when I first started playing, I was like Trample. Like Trample is so cool.
Yeah.
You know. I think if you're talking like now, I think Flashback is a really
That's
cool
a good
mechanic.
one. Yeah.
But there's a lot of there's so much interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at Edge of Eternities. I've been so busy recently.
Yeah, neither have I. But they've got the cool like space station stuff. That's sick.
Yeah. Has Space Station Gaming done a collab with them?
I don't know. They need to.
I
got to hit them up.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, the line check. I think we're both
Orange Kiss. Surprising for you because I know you normally don't like orange flavored things.
Yeah. This is actually pretty good.
Nice. Cool.
I like it. It's. I would describe it more as like tangerine than orange,
there you go.
or like mandarin or something.
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
it's like it's good. It's good.
You know what else is pretty good? The winners of the SMITE Prime tournament over the weekend, also named Orange Kiss.
Yes.
So
we were out of the other flavors today, so figured I would go with the Orange Kiss rather than a non-Alani, because chat was upset that I've not had Alani.
Yeah.
So.
You got to get back onto the train.
I know.
Let's see. I need to find a question before we close out the show here.
Hard to find a good
I
one.
know
to
it's
close
hard
on.
to find a good one to close off on. I'll just choose. Have we ever thought of adding more teamfight-oriented deployables, items, not skills, to the game? We've got a few, like Amanita Charm, Scepter of Dominion, really interesting in team fights, more things like that. I think that could be really cool.
Yeah, I think it could be fun. I think that like there's always like a line to walk of like how complicated you're making team fights, and being able to read what's going on. Sometimes we're a little too noisy right now, and adding more things could complicate that. That said, I like impactful items that you want to use in team fights.
I was gonna say they really need to have like a specific purpose and not just be like a stat stick or something like that. Yeah,
and I think the other thing that's interesting about like items is like the balance between gods and items, right? And generally speaking, our design philosophy is more on the side of like your god defines what you do, and items add some additional stuff, but it's not like the most powerful part of your kit, right? Your kit is the most powerful part of your kit. So I think that like there's a line where it's like, okay, well, if we made I'm just throwing out a thing, like if we made a Thor wall deployable, right? Like then is that just like a really good thing that now everybody has walls and there's walls everywhere, right? Or should something like that be reserved for a god kit? Yeah. And we shouldn't give people the ability to just make a wall with with an item, right? So there's interesting conversations that we have around like what's too far, what is a thing that feels good existing as like an item active versus it should be part of a god's kit. So I think there's a lot of I think there's interesting things that we can do, and we have a lot of ideas and things that we could be doing. But yeah, definitely and one of the more interesting, fun ways of Smite, or fun new bits of Smite 2 is active items. And I think there's more and more that we can do to make those fun.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of fun, Open Beta 15 does go live tomorrow. Lots of fun stuff in that update.
Yeah.
Servers will come down around 7 a.m. Eastern in the morning as our maintenance for that begins. And then we should be live within the next couple hours after that. But chat, thanks so much for hanging out with us on this Monday. We hope to see you all in Open Beta 15 tomorrow, whenever it goes live. But until then, we'll see you on the battleground. Peace.